Hey everyone, welcome to another tutorial on Spring Boot. So the discussion of this video would be dependency descriptors or starter dependency. So let's get started. So what are dependency descriptors or what we call as starter dependency in Spring Boot? So let's understand through the help of an animation. So let's suppose we have a complex application, a complex Java based application which has to interact with a database, which has to make some REST template calls, some API calls, and we have a complex application. There are multiple microservices in that application, and each of the services are using the REST template calls, the database calls. So how do we manage that dependency? How to manage the dependency of the entire application? How do we do that? How does Spring Boot help in that? So before Spring Boot came into existence, we developers, we did all these manual configurations, manual dependency configurations. But with the introduction of dependency descriptors, we just can focus on our business logic. So what are starter dependencies? So starter dependency is nothing but a special dependency that aggregates commonly used dependencies for a particular feature. These are added under the dependency section in our pom.xml file. So what do these starter dependencies look like? Let's have a look. So here I have attached a screenshot of my pom.xml file. We have three dependency descriptors. One is for web, one is for JPA, and one is for unit testing. So let's suppose I do a control plus click on my starter web starter dependency. So it opens up this page in my IDE, which it can be Eclipse or IntelliJ. So we can see that it is an aggregation of all these dependencies that we are currently seeing on our screen, which are the JSON, MVC, and Web MVC. We have a total of around 50 plus starter dependencies. We also have third-party dependencies if you want to use them. So talking about practical, now let's suppose if I want to use Spring Data JPA, so I'll have to use this starter dependency in my pom.xml file. If I want to build RESTful applications using Spring MVC, I'll have to use the Spring Starter Web starter dependency. Now let's look at a few advantages of using starter dependencies. So these increase the productivity of the developer. Developers don't have to focus on configuration much. Managing the pom.xml is quite easy. We don't have much lengthy lines of configurations in them. These starter dependencies, these are tested, these are production ready, so we can use them in our application. A few examples of Spring Boot starter dependencies. We have the starter batch for building Spring Batch applications. We have starter data JDBC for building JDBC applications. We have data JPA and we have data MongoDB for building respective applications for both JPA and MongoDB applications. Okay, so the theory part is done. Now let's have a look what these starter dependencies look like in real life. So I have my pom.xml file open in front of me. Let's do a little go through of this file and see the starter dependencies I've used. So we can see that the group ID I have mentioned the artifact ID of the project. I also have mentioned the version. I also have mentioned the name of the project that I'm building. So these dependencies, these individual dependencies, are able to see under the dependencies tab, like the Spring Boot starter actuator. We have the starter dependency of Spring Boot starter web for building RESTful applications. We have the Spring Starter data JPA dependency for interacting with the database. And we also have the Spring Boot starter test starter dependency if we want to integrate our application with unit testing for that purpose. So now I'll do a control click on this starter web starter dependency and let's see what all dependencies are aggregated to that. So here, if we scroll down, we can see that there are a number of dependencies mentioned in the dependencies tab in the dependencies section. We have the Spring Boot starter for the starting. We have Spring Boot starter JSON. We have the Spring Boot starter Tomcat dependency. We have Spring Web dependency defined. And also we have the Spring Web MVC dependency defined for creating MVC applications. So these are a list of dependencies that are included in the Spring Starter Web Starter dependency. So now you can understand that the starter dependencies are an aggregation of individual dependencies. Okay guys, so with that we come to an end of this tutorial. I hope the theory along with the demo was helpful for all of you. So in the next video, we will be looking at how to create simple Spring Boot applications, how to create Spring Boot applications from the scratch. And yeah, as promised, I will be posting more videos, more and more videos on the tutorials for Spring Boot, for the microservices, for AWS and Snowflake. So make sure you subscribe the channel and make sure to leave a like on the video. Okay, so thank you guys and see you next time.